I'm joined by MaxPreps senior writer and state rep Eric Frantz. Eric, thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
So you recently did an article about the top 50 players from the Great Lakes region. I pulled 12 from Ohio that will have an impact on this upcoming season, starting with Parris Johnson Jr. He is from Princeton, and you had him as a top-rated tackle and ranked 7th overall prospect regardless of his position. How will he have impact on Princeton this year?
You know, I think when you want one word to describe Parris Johnson, it's dominant. Obviously when an offensive lineman is ranked that high nationally, he is a key cog on the field. He's a transfer from St. Xavier. He's been, molded in that GCL division, the South, the last couple of years. And, they say that, games are won and lost in the trenches, and certainly with Parris Johnson in your trench, it's got to bode well for Princeton.
And then next, another Princeton guy, defensive lineman Darien Henry. He's also an Ohio State commit, and he's a number 2 overall prospect in Ohio.
You know, I think it's really rare for one team to have the top 2 prospects in the state, but I think it's even rare that both those guys are linemen. Parris Johnson Jr. obviously being on the offensive line, but we mentioned Darien Henry.
Yep.
Both those guys are going to Ohio State for good cause, but you still got to score touchdowns, so they're going to need some help from the offensive and defensive backfields. But certainly with Henry and Johnson on the line, I think Princeton's one of those teams that coaches are kind of talking about maybe unseating Colerain this year in the GMC.
Myles Parks, he is a junior. He's a running back for Orville, and he helped lead his team to a state title last year.
Yeah, the word that describes Parks is dynamic. I don't know if there's a more electric player in the state. He scored 56 touchdowns last year and had 336 points. Both those totals are second in state history for a single season. Just a real reason for the big turnaround there at Orville, and as long as he's in the backfield, I think you got to think Orville's a threat to defend their state championship.
We have Ethan Wright, running back from Manchester. He's committed to Duke, but how is he going to be an impact for Manchester for his senior year right now?
It seems like Ethan Wright's had 5 senior years at Manchester. It seems like he's always been somebody we've been talking about. And, heading into this season, he's rushed for over 2,400 yards the last 2 years. Got over 5,500 heading into this year. He's got 91 career touchdowns, which puts him within striking distance of the state record of 133 as well. And I think Wright just, right now, ranks within the top 20 in career rushing yards in the state. And, he's going to end his season higher than that. And just a testament to him and that program. And it's good to see somebody excel like that.
We touched on the 12 players from Ohio that made the top 50 list, but were there other players that might have been on the cusp that just didn't make the top 50 that will have an impact on this upcoming season?
I think that one that we point out is Lachey, tight end at Grandview Heights. He's the 15th top senior tight end prospect in the country, and had several big schools that wanted him, and he committed to Iowa. I think the thing that sticks out about Luke is that he's not a physically overpowering tight end, I want to say, in the run game, but he is a freakish athlete, 6'6" frame, and caught over 38 balls last year, had 10 touchdowns. Really look for him to make an impact. I think in Southwest Ohio, one name that you're going to want to remember is Williams at Winton Woods. I know there's a lot of talk in Cincinnati, a lot of disgruntled people down there, and the fact that they've only had one Mr. Football winner in the history of the award. When we think about high school football in Ohio, you think about Cincinnati automatically, right? St. X, Moeller, Elder, all those guys. I think they're really looking forward to snapping that Mr. Football absence this year. And Williams would be one of those guys that would be able to do it. Had over 1,500 yards, 30 touchdowns last year for Winton Woods. Could be the year Cincinnati gets it done for Mr. Football, and certainly Williams would be one of those guys that could do it.
Definitely some names to watch for this upcoming season. Thanks for joining me, and looking forward to an exciting season.
Thanks for having me.